Hey guys, Hyde here with another Division video for you. Massive just released the patch notes for 1.6 and here we are. We're going to go over them, show you my initial thoughts, the good, the bad, the ugly, and some tips and tricks on how you can prep yourself with the release. So first and foremost, patch 1.6 is for everybody. We are going to get it on February 28th, so just about a month from today, a little over that. The Last Stand DLC, that is going to be part of 1.6, but that is separate. If you don't have the season pass, or you haven't bought or don't plan on buying the DLC, you don't have to worry about it. You're still going to get all that 1.6 content. So with Last Stand, we are going to have a new game mode called Last Stand. It's a PvP game mode that has some turret defense within it. We really don't know too much more than that. We haven't really seen much gameplay. So more to come on that as Massive gives us more information. It sounds like they're gonna do a bonus stream for us to show the details in the next couple of days based on some updates from Hamish earlier today. In addition to that, there is a new incursion coming with Last Stand. So again, you need the DLC for this. It's called Lost Signal. And it looks like we are going up against Rikers, and it has various wings within it that are unique and offer unique rewards. Let's get on to 1.6. So first and foremost, we have the Dark Zone expansion. So we're going to see Dark Zone 7, 8, and 9, which is available for everybody. This will be a positive across the board. The player count stays the same, so you're going to see a lot less players in the Dark Zone. Obviously, for the first half of the next month or two, I guess, we're going to see a lot of people congregated in probably 6, 7, 8, and 9. But if you're a PvE player and you want to really just grind in the Dark Zone, that's when you're going to want to go to 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're still going to get great loot down there. There's not going to be as many players. So I predict that we're going to see essentially a PvE Dark Zone in the lower half for at least the next couple of months. We're also adding Dark Zone leaderboards. I think this is something that's great. Hopefully the leaderboards update relatively quickly. There are some rumors that it updated every 24 hours. Not sure I agree with that. I'd like to see a little bit more. Maybe every 6 hours or even every hour would be awesome, but I understand they gotta maintain things on the server side. Dark Zone contamination events. This sounds pretty exciting, and this is where a healing build is gonna come in quite powerful in your group. So with this, cleaners are going to invade the underground in the DZ, and they will release a gas which will slowly kill you, but you need to fight them obviously to get the loot. So some good fun there with the contamination events. Legendary difficulty. This really has to do with the PvE crowd, obviously. We're going to see a few missions that have this. That's going to be Napalm Production Site, Warren Gate, and Times Square. Some comments that I've seen on this is that the AI for these folks for this mission has been really ramped up, very similar to what we see with hunters in survival. More character customization, gonna go ahead and skip that. Combat, so quite a bit of changes here. Increase the time to revive a downed agent from 3 seconds to 5 seconds, so almost 100% increase. This will be quite impactful in PvE, but even more impactful in PvP. So once you have somebody that's down, it's gonna be a lot easier to finish them off. Because you're not going to need too much time to finish players off nowadays, I think, with a lot of the other changes that we're going to see here. However, I do feel that this is a nerf, especially to the Predator's Mark build. Bleed no longer blocks sprint, instead it reduces your speed by 20%. So this, in my opinion, is a pretty major nerf to Predator's Mark. And the reason for that, the reason why I always like to have a Predator's Mark build in my team makeup is it allows me to catch up to those rogues that are running for days and days and days. Now, maybe it's not going to be as big of a deal as I think it's going to be. I need to play with it in the PTS, but my initial thought is this is a pretty big nerf to Predator's Mark overall. Now, there's been a lot of controversy about sprinting and reloading. We see that this was removed from the game. You cannot reload while you are sprinting. It's that simple. You need to, I guess, walk around, right? You need to get in cover and reload, whatever it may be. I think this is a positive change overall. I like where they're going with this. In addition to that, they made changes to hipfire. So you will see two different things. You will have different accuracy, right? It's been reduced overall, so you're going to be jumping and jiving all over the place. In addition to that, there's a new camera. So what they were explaining on the stream that I saw the other day with Matt Shada was the hipfire camera is much, much lower than what you are used to. So it actually brings your camera more so to your waist as opposed to over the shoulder than what you see today. Combat roll now has a cooldown as well. It is 1 second is what they've confirmed. So there is a positive there. This I disagree with completely. They reduced the body shot damage, or sorry, they increased the body shot damage in PvP. I completely disagree with this approach. It's going to a skill-less system where I'd rather they go towards a skilled system where hitting headshots has value. Right now, what's the point of headshot damage? Especially with what you're going to see with the new gear set, it's going to be insane. Dark Zone, so a couple changes here. One, PvE players, let's rejoice. You no longer lose Dark Zone experience or funds if you are killed and not rogue. So 4-man gank squad comes up to you and lets you up. You don't need to wear Banshee anymore. You're not going to lose money. You're not going to lose XP. In addition to that, you're going to get extra XP when you do supply drops. And lastly, you can fast travel between checkpoints. The only caveat is if you have any contaminated gear on you, you are going to lose that. Armor has been removed from the game, so there's some big changes here. All of the current gear that has plus armor as a major attribute will be re-rolled to plus health. In addition to that, you will not be able to roll armor on gear at all. If you have plus health on existing gear, that's going to be moved to resist all. In addition to that, you now have the ability to get 100% resistance to something, and then it will no longer affect you. Think shock, think flashbangs, think fire charts. If you get to 100% resist on any of those, they're no longer going to impact you. Here's a quick gear talent change. Rejuvenated now gives you a 40% resistance. I don't think this is that big of a deal. I don't think that this is going to get people to utilize. I think this is a mask, if I recall correctly, is where usually it rolls. I don't think this is going to get people to use it. Some character talents reductions. These are basically nerfs overall. The adrenaline might be kind of nice. I'm not quite sure. But overall, the methodology that Massive is going with here is that they want PvP battles to be quicker. So I guess they're going to get that right. They're really getting rid of anything that gives you damage resistance. So we'll just kind of have to see what happens. Skill power went through some makeovers, as did some of the skills. Nothing too crazy here. But the biggest thing is that skill power, if you were playing before and you got to about 250k, you kind of hit the soft cap, I guess you could say, because the diminishing returns after 250k just wasn't there. It wasn't worth it. So now it's up to 450k, which really will give a buff to skill power. I think we're going to see the return of tanky skill players. Now I'm not worried about it. I think we're going to go back to the Tanktician meta, but I think overall we're going to see some changes there to just the meta itself, where skill power will be valuable. In addition to that, Sticky Bomb had some changes. They changed some mods on it overall. Nothing too crazy. Signature skills did get kind of a tweak. So, for example, the exhaust that applies after a player is revived with a signature skill, or received from a signature skill, is extended to 60 seconds from 30, so you can no longer daisy chain, whether it be tack link or recovery link or whatever it may be. In addition to that, skill haste now is impacted on signature skills. So this is actually a pretty big buff to signature skills. I think we're going to be seeing them a lot more, especially with skill power natively impacting skill haste. So I think we're going to see a lot more signature skills in the DZ. I'm not too happy about that, honestly. I think it's great for PvE because it's fun to use in there. But from a PvP perspective, I hate signature skills. I wish they weren't allowed in the Dark Zone, but we all know that that's not going to happen. Let's see, gear sets. Some bad changes, some good changes here. I'm not a fan of the defense change, basically. Crit hit damage is now returned when you have the defense set on. However, you no longer receive the bonuses from the shields, so you just get a standard shield. So I'm not a big fan of that. I don't think it's a good thing, but we'll have to see what happens. But I need to play with it a little bit. Reclaimer, there's some really positives from a PvP perspective, no good positives from a PvE perspective. So support station range has been increased, that's the 2-piece, and then the 4-piece is all support station mods are active at the same time. So you're going to get the ammo, you're going to get the pillbox, you're going to get the auto revive. That is fantastic from a PvP perspective, and I'm going to bet we are going to see a hell of a lot more groups running with a reclaimer. I think it's going to be so valuable, especially in the close environments or even the rooftop battles that are going to start happening in DZ 7, 8, and 9. Now, from a PvE perspective, I think this is a nerf. I think that having the consumables go across the board to your entire team was extremely valuable. Last night I was running Dragon's Nest with some friends of mine that are relatively new to the game, or rather just don't have a lot of good gear. So that 20% damage boost from the water, me being able to apply that for them, really helped out. So like I said, I think this is a buff for PvP, a nerf for PvE. Alpha Bridge, I think this is a positive nerf. I think this is something that needed. But overall, what's happening with Alpha Bridge is you now get 4 talents instead of 3. Or sorry, instead of 6. But the positive is that you no longer need unlock requirements. So if you're wearing Alpha Bridge and you have a lot of, say, tech talents on your weapons, you're going to get those automatically. So I think we're going to see a lot of unique builds with Alpha Bridge going forward. Tactician's Authority now consumes a skill buff on skill use instead of it going away after 10 seconds. And then Seeker, guys, this is insane. This is probably one of the worst ideas that I've seen Massive come out with. So Seeker, the new gear set, you get 10% body shot damage, you get 30% crit hit damage, and then after 2 body shots, your 3rd shot is a critical hit. This is absolutely insane. So pair that with what we saw up top, where we have combat, where the body shot damage has been increased in PvP. Now we have this set that increases body shot damage even further, 10%, okay? Now we get a 30% crit hit damage on top of Pulse or whatever else we're going to run. And this set is just insane. This is going to be the new meta. I absolutely guarantee it. You are going to see people run SMGs like crazy because of the crit hit damage you get on those, and it's just going to stack, and people are going to get melted again. I guess that's what they want to go with, and that's fine, I guess, but I don't like this. I think this is going to take the quote-unquote skill out of the game even further. The Division really doesn't have a lot of skill as it is with PvP, but it's going to get even worse with this gear set. I don't like it at all. This needs to be completely redone. You're just going to have folks that are just going to continue to hip fire. Like it's going to happen. So the new camera really didn't fix that at all. Or even if they do aim down the sights, it's not hard to aim for the torso instead. So I think that this is a mistake, and I hope that the PTS proves that, and they make massive changes to it. A couple quick changes on loot. The scavenger box will now scale with your world tier. Weekly assignment caches will now guarantee you an exotic item. This is a positive. This is really good. We'll get into exotic items here in just a minute, but basically it's a named gear item. High-end named items become exotic. That's the name they're going with. It might change. Who knows? I mean, sounds like they're kind of going off of Destiny a little bit here. So some of the changes have been made to where you can get exotic items, but the biggest thing I want you guys to know, and the biggest thing you need to do right now, is exotic weapons have been removed from the advanced weaponry vendor. So you need to go buy those right now. So go buy all the exotics from the advanced weapons vendor. PTS goes live tomorrow. I'm not sure if it's the special weapons vendor either. I will check and let you guys know. But right now, start buying all those named items because they're going away. And the only way to get them now is through in-game activity, through RNG. So you may get 20 MDRs in a row. You don't know. You don't know what that RNG is going to be like. So while you can, farm over the next 4 weeks and get every exotic item that you can get. That includes names gear if you want to get them the old way. However, I'm not too worried about that because we're going to get more avenues to get those with the changes that we're seeing. However, the exotic weapons, Those are easy to obtain right now, and that's going away. So do it. Farm those events, get those things, buy them from the vendor, whatever you got to do. Recalibrations are now unlimited. Yay! In addition to that, there will be a cap, and it will no longer increase to 30 million. Like right now, I have knee pads that I'm at like 46 million, I think, for a reroll. So I'm happy to see that this is changing. So weapons. So some changes here. I'm really just going to skip over some of the detail here. We're going to go into exotic weapons. So all the exotic weapons are now getting a unique talent, and some of the ones I think are going to be really strong are, I think Hungry Hog is going to be the new PvE target, or PvE LMG. Pair this with Meticulous, and I think you're going to have some major damage throughout the use of the Hungry Hog. I think this is going to be the go-to PvE weapon going forward, is my guess. FYI, FAMAS is now exotic weapon, guys, so you're not going to be able to use that with Elven Bridge. Sorry. Tenebrae, I think this is going to be really interesting. I can see this being used a lot in the Dark Zone, actually, especially with Clean Airs or any of the other ones that have really easy to attack weak spots. I could see my team. Let's go clear this cleaner boss. Let me get a couple shots with a weak point with my Tenebrae, reset everybody's cooldown. Now let's go wreck some noobs in the Dark Zone. I definitely see that happening a lot, so just be aware of that. Pecan, I think this is an okay one. Each kill makes the next reload have a 20% extra bullets compared to its base. So I think you can get a really big, really big magazine here. So I think that there's some value to that. Liberator and Centurion, I think this is a nerf overall. I don't like it. It's pretty boring in my opinion. Valkyrie becomes 2 new weapons. So Valkyria, each hit with the Hilder increases the crit hit damage by 1% to max of 100. The bonus decrease by 1 every second, and then Hilder cannot crit. So it's yet to be seen if this is going to become 2 weapons if it's in your inventory, or if you only get 1 of the 2. So I'll report back on that. I have a few in my stash, so hopefully I can test that out for you. Cassidy, this might be really interesting. I want to see how this works out. You double fire basically both slugs out of your shotgun. So this could be valuable. Stack some shotgun damage. With the less armor nowadays, you may be able to quote unquote one-shot somebody with a shotgun. Not 100% sure here. We need to do some testing. Urban MDR, really disappointed that they didn't make any changes here. I feel that the MDR is extremely weak. It fires okay, but the base damage is just way too low on this weapon. They need to increase it. Warlord is going to be really interesting. I want to see what it looks like. I'm going to be farming for it. I have not gotten it yet in Falcon Lost, but you can bet your bippy I'm going to continue to farm for it. Damage taken is reduced by 20% while firing. Damage is taken when you stop firing. So stack this with a really big magazine, right? Stack yourself with, right before you reload, with say a heal of some sort, or have a support station ready so you can revive yourself if it comes down to it. But overall, I think Warlord might be kind of interesting. Damascus seems like it's okay, but I don't know about you guys. I don't do a lot of weapon swapping. I know that that's what they're going towards with this new meta, I guess you could say. But I don't do a lot of weapon swapping in the game right now, and maybe I'm playing wrong. I don't know, but I don't see a lot of other people doing it either. Golden Rhino, stagger increase. Historian, this is really interesting. I'm gonna start playing with the Historian just to get used to it, to see if I like it. But each bullet embers itself in the target and detonates 2 seconds later for 20% of your skill power. So this is going to be really interesting. I could see like a 4-man group, right? Going up against a player and getting ready for that sniper, right? Everybody get preps on count of 1, 2, 3. We're gonna go ahead and pop him with a Historian bullet, right? And then 2 seconds later, boom, he explodes and he's dead. So I can see a lot of fun play with this. I don't know how viable it's going to be, but as somebody who usually runs a healer build, I'm gonna have a lot of fun with Historian. It's probably gonna be my go-to sniper rifle with my build. Caduceus, each crit heals you and your group for 1% of their health. Really interesting. I find this to be something that actually might be paired with Seeker, right? Because every third bullet's a guaranteed crit. I could see this being really, really interesting. So I need to start farming for this. FYI, this drops from just named LZ bosses, so start farming, boys. A few other changes. Intel will now be dropped from civilians, which is awesome. And let's see here, in survival. So I know not everybody has survival, but I think there's some good changes and some bad changes here. So survival cache content has given a small update, so you can get exotic items, yay. Reviving players from a down state will now cost a med kit. Not a big fan of this. I guess it's just gonna have to change the way I play in the DZ, or sorry, in survival. Usually if I was in a group and I was gonna go down, and I knew it was a safe place to go down, I would just let myself get down, know my team can revive me without wasting a med kit. I can no longer do that anymore. One other quick change here is if you are solo in survival and you queue for solo, you are only going to be matched with solo players. They cannot group, so it's 1 versus 1 versus 1 all the way up through 24. There's no longer going to be groups in there. That's a positive. The other thing I don't like here is you can no longer loot and kill other players in survival PvE. I don't play too much survival PvE, but it is nice that you can loot and kill people if they go down. Like, they should be able to. Now you need to wait for the timer, right? So you're gonna have players sitting there waiting for that person to go, and it's gonna be the first person to loot that player to get all the gear. Not a big fan of that. I don't think it's a positive. I think there still should be repercussions for dying in PvE survival, and right now there aren't any. Last one here that we're going to go over, or last two rather, underground. So killing NPCs now grants underground XP instead of normal XP. This is a good and a bad. I think it's good because it's really going to help farming underground. However, you're not going to get your proficiency caches anymore, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. However, underground caches now give you 2 items instead of 1, and you can get exotic items. So it's kind of a trade, right? With your normal XP caches, but I don't know if this is gonna be good or bad. But for those of you that want to farm underground XP, now is going to be a good time to do that. And lastly, increase the weekly rewards on all challenging and heroic incursions. So I think this is a good thing as well. Get more people to do incursions. I think that's a positive, especially with the new one coming here, Lost Signal. We don't really have too much details about it yet other than what is here in the patch notes. But a few takeaways from this, guys. Quick summary. So number 1, buy all the named weapons that you can buy. Continue to farm for those named weapons. Continue to farm as much as you can for those because they are going to become, in my opinion, quite strong and are going to pair really, really well with a lot of the builds that are out there. In addition to that, I think you can probably stop farming for named gear just because there's going to be a lot more ways to get them. Right now you need to farm Barrett over and over and over, or you have to farm Joe Ferraro over and over and over, as opposed to doing your exotic caches or doing other activities, which was alluded to in the patch notes here. So those are a couple of the takeaways. In addition to that, this Seeker build that they've talked about here is absolutely insane. It's going to be overpowered, and they need to fix that, in my opinion, right away. So hopefully they go ahead and do that. So the PTS goes live tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. You betcha I'm going to be playing right away. I'll probably go to bed early tonight and start playing. And then we're planning on 1.6 going live at the end of February. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. If you like what you see, like what you hear, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Any questions, feel free to comment below.